Are you the smartest person in the room? And it's an interesting one to explore, and it's off the back of Mindset, the book, which I've been working my way through. And I wanted to today look at how often we feel the need to be smart, and I explored this with my 5, nearly 6-year-old the other today, around just being quiet sometimes. I think often we feel we need to prove ourselves, we need to answer the question, or we need to input, when more often sometimes we just need to be quiet and listen to what's happening around us. So I was encouraging my 5-year-old, because she's forever trying to, like, you know, off the back of Mum and I saying to one of the others something, she'll add her, yeah, because when I do it, the blah blah blah. And I was trying to explain to her we don't always need to contribute, and some of the best lessons are to not contribute sometimes. So helping her to understand that it's like, it's not proving that you don't know, and it's not proving that you know. Sometimes it's just being in existence without feeling the need to input. So it made me start to think, how often in work, in anything, do we feel like we have to speak up to validate our position, to validate our knowledge, to validate we know what we're doing, to validate any of those things? And I think often the thing that comes back to me is Simon Sinek talks about being in a room full of C-suite, and there was a presenter presenting, and he had no idea. He couldn't understand what was happening. So he started asking questions and flipping it, rather than being necessarily quiet, but be intrigued and be curious. And he started to ask the questions. He said all their C-suite were nodding their heads and you know, listening and taking in what was being talked about. And really they weren't actually understanding any of it. And it was only that he then started to go, but I don't understand this, and can you tell me more about that? And he actually started to kind of, I guess, challenge or gain more insight and understanding, that then the C-suite kind of like, yeah, we're interested in that too. We don't quite understand this over here either. And I think sometimes we fear asking questions makes us look less smart, that makes us look less knowledgeable. We worry about being the CEO or whatever, and what that might look. And more often than not, I think it comes down to us, it's a humble aspect. And that's where Simon Sinek turned around and goes, I'd rather be dumb and learning, well, I don't think he actually used the word dumb, but be learning, be constantly learning and asking the questions, because at the end of it, he walked away, and so did the C-suite, with a better understanding of what was being offered to the company. Don't know the detail in depth off the top of my head, but I'll see if I can find it and chuck it in the description if I can. But it reminds me that we just sometimes need to ask the questions and put ourselves out there, because we're not expected to know everything. And often I feel we hide that we don't know what's happening because we don't want to look incompetent, or as a leader, as a manager, as CEO, we don't want to look like we don't know what's happening. And yet that's okay to sometimes not know, because that's part of the job. You're not hired to know everything, and every day we should be learning something new every day. So I flipped now at the dinner time. We used to talk about the best thing today. I've now flipped it to what's the one thing today you've learned that you didn't know yesterday, and trying to go down that avenue, because I think that way we all are actually growing as well, learning about each other and seeing what else we could learn from others as well. Because really that's community, that's workplace, that's school place, that's all those zones. We can learn from others. We're again not on the same game, yet the fixed mindset think we're all playing the same game. The same rules, the same expectation, the same seniority, the same look at me, how great I am. Whereas the growth mindset looks at the fact that we're all in different games, we're all playing different games, but I might be able to learn from some rules over in that game and some rules over in that game, and how they've concepted something and bring that to my game, which improves my game and takes it to another level. So yeah, thinking about being quiet sometimes asking questions, being intrigued and interested, and then how you can then value add from that, because as you grow as a person, you're actually becoming more valuable to yourself, to your team, to others, and just in general, it gives you a sense of growth, development, and being a better you. And if you've been on my channel for a while, that's really what I'm working on myself, is to be the best me I can, because every hour we have is an hour that gets spent, and we're either investing it and making it worth its while, or we're wasting it and we're just and that's where a lot of the reading has come from. That's where a lot of my, I guess, revision of how I spend my time, accounting wise. And I implore you guys to do the same. Do an audit of how much time you spend doing things. The digital minimalism taught me about, like with my phone and even with tech, winding the clocks on that, making it so that I'm not just falling down those social media rabbit holes, gaining back the control that I need on my life, because at the end of the day, I'll be the old person sitting in a retirement village, and I'll either be regretting how I spent my hours, or I will regret not doing things, or I will regret, or I might look at things and go, I actually feel really like I've spent every hour that I've had well. So that's it for this episode. Have a fantastic day. Think about auditing your time. Think about how you spend your time. And if ever you want to hit me up, chuck it in the comments, reach out. I'm more than happy to respond and have a conversation. Thanks for watching. You have a fantastic day. Bye for now.